Well, it didn't quite turn up the way that was expected with this Indian batting order firing on all cylinders throughout the tournament. But today, 240. Take me back 20 years, I would have taken that 240 because that was a par total. Not quite in the kind of ODI cricket that we see in this time. And especially with the Indian team, with the kind of batting that they've been doing in this tournament, this many would say is a below par total. 50s from Virat Kohli and Rahul is what propelled India past 200. Your star batter in Rohit Sharma did give you that impetus at the beginning, just as he had been doing throughout this tournament. 47, but was that shot needed? That's something that we're going to discuss in the next half an hour. But the first bit, the breaking news, India finished on 240 in their 50 overs. The Australian bowlers, led by their captain in Pat Cummins as well as Josh Hazlewood, two bowlers that we had pointed out at the start of the match that you need to be wary of, and that's exactly what happened. Mitchell Starc also getting the ball to reverse swing, and then you had the spinners, especially in Adam Zampa as well, ensuring that not too many runs were given when the Australian team were batting. But I think the biggest question that will be raised will be around the pitch. Was it worthy of a World Cup final? All that we'll be discussing. Joining us, two world champions, Robin Uthappa right here in the studio with us here at India Today. Also joining us is going to be Suresh Raina, the winner the last time around. India won the 2011 World Cup. I'm not going to beat around the bush, Robin. First up, is it the kind of pitch that you want at a World Cup final?
Absolutely not. That would be a resounding no from me. You want a wicket, you'd rather have a high-scoring World Cup final than have a little bit of a limp one, and this one's pretty limp, to be very honest. It was not easy to score runs on. Obviously, the new ball came on, so it was slightly easier to score runs initially. But as the game wore on, you could tell that the wicket was more than just two-paced. Some of them came on, some of them didn't. It bounced a little higher, then kept low. Like if you look at Shreyas Iyer's dismissal, that ball is hit back of a length and hit hard by a fast bowler like Pat Cummins, and that just barely went above the stumps. So he was anticipating it much higher, but it went much lower. So could be one of the reasons why he got out as well. 240 on this track. If it remains the same, fighting total.
But the big question mark is now going to be around the dew as well, right? The dew factor. Robin, we've spoken about the dew throughout this tournament. On a lot of occasions, it's not come. We've been fearing the dew, it's not come. You expect the same thing to happen, at least for India's sake. Fingers crossed.
Well, you don't want the dew to come. I don't want the dew to come personally, because that will mean that both teams play on the same conditions. If the dew comes on, then both teams don't play on similar conditions. They play on very, very different conditions. The ball will come onto the bat much nicer if dew comes onto this wicket. And because the dew is not just going to be on the outfield, it's going to be on the square as well. So every time the ball pitches on the square, it'll skid on. So the ball won't wear out like how it wore out here for the Australian bowling attack. You could see the ball reversing by the 42nd over. You won't get to see that too much. And that's going to impede the Indian bowlers from performing to their best or capitalizing on the conditions to the best of their ability.
Okay, because dew is going to play a major role, and we'll speak to Robin a little bit more on that. He'll try and explain to us why is it that the conditions change so drastically when the dew comes, and why will it be so different while you are batting first, and why will it change when you are chasing. But for the moment, to get you the ground reality, let's take you live to Ahmedabad. Our correspondent Rahul Rawat is joining us from there. Rahul, I know you're out at the stadium, but do you have an idea, is the dew setting in? Because you get to know, in and around that playing area while you've been there at the ground. Is it expected to be a bit wet when the Indian bowlers come out to bowl?
Well, Nikhil, as far as dew is concerned, nobody is absolutely sure about it. Rahul Dravid has mentioned it in the past. Yesterday, even Rohit Sharma mentioned that in Mumbai, what happened on the training day, a day before the match began, there was dew, but on the match day, there was no dew. And same thing happened during that game against Pakistan as well. So, as far as dew is concerned, I can't be absolutely sure whether the dew will set in or at what time, because it's still 6 o'clock. So even if there has to be dew, it won't come before 7:30. So you still have an hour and a half. But I've got with me, if you see the people, the public, well, they are very enthusiastic. They are very optimistic. In fact, I was just discussing what can happen from here on. You know, it's just 240 on the board. But remember, only Netherlands and India. These are the only two teams that have managed to restrict the opposition, or they have managed to defend a total less than this. Against England, India defended 229. What they need is early wickets from the Indian pacers, and so far they've been very good with that. I'll just get some reactions from these people out here. क्या लग रहा है आप लोगों को? स्कोर 240 है, विकेट ट्रिकी है. देखिए विकेट 240 लगाया है इस बैटिंग लाइनअप ने, जो बहुत अच्छा खेला है अभी तक. क्या चांसेस लग रहे हैं? क्या इंडिया इस टोटल को डिफेंड कर सकता है? और अब सिर्फ 50 ओवर का मैच बचा है ये वर्ल्ड कप फाइनल डिसाइड होने में. आपको क्या लग रहा है कि क्या हो सकता है? इंडिया जीत रहा है?
जरूर जरूर.
इंडिया कैसे, क्या चाहिए, क्या करना होगा इंडिया को?
ज्यादा से ज्यादा विकेट लेने होंगे.
वो तो ठीक है, कौन ले रहा है कब?
मोहम्मद शमी, सिराज और बुमराह
को विकेटें ऊपर से लेनी होंगी.
हाँ, ऊपर से लेने. और ऑस्ट्रेलिया का 200 रन के अंदर निपटा के भारत विश्व विजेता बनेगा.
आप लोगों, मैं खैर ये बोलना नहीं चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि सुबह जब बात हो रही थी तब सबको ये कॉन्फिडेंस था कि इंडिया 300 रन लगा देगा, 350 लगा देगा, 400 रन लगा देगा. 240 क्या हुआ आज कि स्कोर सिर्फ 240 ही रह गया? आप
सर देखिए, हर फाइनल में 240, 250 फाइनल में ज्यादा रन नहीं बनता है, ठीक है. लेकिन अपना फील्डिंग, अपना बॉलिंग के हम लोग बदौलत जीत सकते हैं. इसमें सामी है, बुमराह है.
आप बोल रहे हैं कि मैच इंडिया डिफेंड कर लेगा ये स्कोर? मैच जीत रहा है इंडिया?
बस एक बार.
There you go, Nikhil. There you go. You cannot find more optimistic fans than the Indians, be it the ones who are inside the venue or outside. Nikhil.
Okay, Rahul, thank you so much for that update. Lovely to see that excitement. They haven't lost hope with this Indian team, even though, as I mentioned, it's a below par total. Now what we're going to do is actually break down the Indian innings, the decisions that were taken, whether it was with regards to the batting order, whether it was the kind of decisions that were taken in terms of shot making. All of that will be discussed. Robin Uthappa is here, our in-house cricket analyst. Robin, let's start with the toss. I know it wasn't a decision for the Indian team to make. It was up to the Australian team to do so. But we heard Rohit Sharma say at the toss that I would have batted first. In hindsight, would he have hoped to have won the toss and then be chasing? Yeah.
Not necessarily, to be honest. I think cricket smarts kind of dictates that you've seen the trend in this whole World Cup where every game starts at 2 o'clock compared to 2:30, which is the normal start time for one-day cricket in a day-and-night fixture. So we've noticed over this whole World Cup that when you bowl second, that first 45 minutes of that second innings, the ball does a lot and has a huge amount of help for the fast bowlers. And India have experienced that over the last 10 games. And, they wouldn't have expected this wicket to be that two-paced, to be honest. As the game wore on, they wouldn't have expected the ball to hold on so much. Even the short balls, and I think Virat Kohli is one of the strongest proponents of the pull shot in the world of cricket today. And even for him, to see him kind of miss-hit pull shots was quite surprising. And you saw that happen against Australia in Chennai in the first game, and you saw it happening here today. So it tells you a story about the kind of wicket that was actually available and was prepared today for the final. So I wouldn't blame the choices or even what Rohit wanted to do. I think it would have been a good choice to bat first, given the wicket was a good one. And you can't necessarily read what a wicket's going to be before the start of a game. No matter how many years of cricket you've played, you cannot read a wicket unless 6 balls are bowled on it. And the wicket also changes over a period of time. There are too many kind of changes and within too many variables. Honestly, thank you for that in the game of cricket. And as the game wears on, you see those variables coming into play. And because of that, I wouldn't kind of fault him in that sense. And I still believe that 45 minutes is still available. That magic that can happen is still available.
Okay, so one is that 45-minute period, and let me explain that to our viewers. Why that is happening is because usually in India, we have either a 2:30 start, sometime even a 3 p.m. start, and then that twilight time actually comes much later. If you are batting second, by the time the innings finishes, the twilight is gone, so the problem is not there. Only in this World Cup, because games are starting a bit earlier at 2 o'clock, you have to bat against the new ball during that 45-minute period, where you end up losing a lot of wickets. And Robin points out that the Indian fast bowlers have capitalized on that. They've picked up a lot of wickets. But my question to you is, I'm looking at all sorts of scenarios. Assuming that that's not the burst or the spell you get in that 45 minutes. Does the Indian team have more weapons in their armory to trouble this Australian team?
Oh, absolutely. Hasn't he got to consider how India have bowled in the middle overs, how Rohit Sharma has utilized the bowlers. Every time he's brought on Shami, Shami's gotten wickets. And the times he's brought on Shami has been great. And that's why he's been really astute and incredible as a captain. The calls he's taken have been quite amazing in this World Cup. So I still believe India are in with a massive chance. I would say this is maybe 55-45 towards Australia at this point in time. Okay. And that could change after the first 45 minutes.
Okay, we'll also bring you the highlights of the game. But before that, we're also joined by Suresh Raina. We're going to look back at this particular innings and I'm going to break it down, as I said. Firstly, let's start with the Indian captain. That is Rohit Sharma. Once again gets those 40s that he has been getting. A quick fire 40 at that. But that shot that he plays versus Maxwell, he's got a 4, he's got a 6. Was that shot necessary, Suresh?
He should have stopped actually. He already got 10 runs. Whole nation was waiting for. He was looking very, very good. But disappointing, I would say, when you know you're a captain of the team. And he looked very, very good. Unfortunately, he thought when mid-on and mid-off fielder was up, that shot could have been tricky, but I don't know. I think he batted really well. Whole tournament, he's giving a good start. So,
okay, Robin, I'm going to put you in this spot, as I did with Suresh. You know, was that shot needed? I agree the point that Suresh is making, that's exactly the kind of template that Rohit has been following. It's worked for the Indian team. Today, you needed to target that fifth bowler. We'd spoken about it earlier. He did do that. A 6 and a 4, maybe a bit more judicious at that time.
Oh, absolutely. I think, and I think that's why hindsight is such a blessing, isn't it? And in retrospect, I certainly feel like he would have gone back to the dressing room 10, 15 hours later. He would have thought that, oh man, if I just didn't play that shot, I had these guys under my thumb, and I could have kept them there. All I need to do is bat another 50 balls, just the way I'm batting. Maybe as the game wore on, he would have realized that, okay, this wicket's not easy to bat on, so I can't play those shots. I'll have to switch between, playing the way I've been playing for the first 10 overs, and then change to just kind of nudging the ball around, rotating the strike, getting that odd boundary. I would have given a little bit more freedom to the other batters as well, but you can't fault him because that's the role that's been taken on by him, and India are where they are because of the way he's been performing at the top of the order. So they've gotten to the final with him playing this way. So you can't necessarily fault him, but if you kind of are nitpicking, then certainly he had 10 runs in 2 balls. He could have just rotated the strike and completed that over with maybe 15 runs, and then the next over taking on the other bowler.
Lest we forget, they've come from a semi-final, Robin, where even 213 proved to be very tough for them to get. Is that something that the Indian team is going to take heart for?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll take anything that comes our way right now. And I think with just the way India have batted and how difficult it has been, it's going to be as challenging if the conditions remain the same. So I'm pretty certain that that's the conversation that has been had. And early wickets are the key. So the first 10 overs are going to be key to how this chase is going to go down and how the defense is going to happen as far as India is concerned. We know that Travis Head and David Warner come hard at the bowlers in the first 10 overs. I don't think they will be any different, especially Travis Head. He's not intimidated by any bowler in the world, and I think he is the key to this chase.
He's the Rohit Sharma of Australia.
You get him out early, we're in the game, guys.
Okay, so Travis Head is the one that you have to watch out for, as Robin is pointing out here. And I'll extend that question to you, Suresh, who's still with us. If you had to look at some batters in the Australian batting lineup, Robin points out, Head is one of them. Who are the others you think could be dangerous now that you know the kind of pitch that is on offer?
I would say David Warner because he plays spin really, really well. Travis Head will go very, very hard against pace. But the key player will be Mitchell Marsh and Steven Smith. I think they both know how important this total is to chase on for Australia. They have won 5 times for their team. I think it's going to be very, very crucial, the middle periods. Probably I would say Kuldeep Yadav and Jadeja will be very, very important bowler for Team India.
Okay. We'll continue our analysis with Suresh and Robin. But for the moment, for those of you who believe in numbers, let's give you some perspective in terms of stat. Now, while India may not have put up a huge total after being asked to bat first in the final, but let's remind you that there have been 2 instances in the past when a total less than 215 has proven to be a match-winning one. Back in 1983, we're talking about World Cups, of course. Back in 1983, India were the first team to defend their first innings total of 183 runs, courtesy and inspired bowling performance from the bowlers. The other instance took place in 1992 when Pakistan defended 249 runs, riding on the brilliance of Imran Khan. So we've just shown you two occasions where it has been done in World Cups, and of course, if India managed to pull this one, then that would be the third time a total less than 250 has been defended. Okay, but if India has to defend that, the Indian new ball bowlers have to do the trick. Robin pointed that out. The first 10 overs are going to be crucial, and one of the bowlers that bowls in that phase is the man from Amroha, Mohammad Shami. Joining us live from Amroha right now is Nitin Srivastav. Nitin, are the fans there confident? And have they sent their good wishes, those positive vibes to their city mate in Mohammad Shami to do the trick today?
Well, certainly, Nikhil, there is no doubt each and everyone is still very confident, and they are very, very optimistic as well, because of, there are still scope that Indian bowlers would manage to win this game, because, batters have done their job, but it is the time for our bowlers to perform really well, especially the man from Amroha, Mohammad Shami. Everyone is expecting that Mohammad Shami is going to rock and roll in the wicket with the ball. आप लोगों को लगता है कि मोहम्मद शमी जैसा अभी तक करते आ रहे थे, स्पेशली जैसा लास्ट गेम खेला था, आज उनके पास एक और अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि वो उसी तरह की एक हीरोइक परफॉर्मेंस दे सके?
जी इंशाल्लाह बिल्कुल, आज हमें पूरी उम्मीद है शामी अहमद से, जैसे कि उन्होंने पिछले मैचों में विकेट लिए हैं, पिछले में 7 लिए थे, इंशाल्लाह आज 8 विकेट लेंगे, और हमारी ये दरख्वास्त है कैप्टन से कि पहला ओवर फेंकवाएं शामी अहमद से,
पहला ओवर फेंकवाएं। लेकिन आपको क्या लगता है कि क्या स्कोर पे आपके पास बोर्ड पे इतना स्कोर है, 240 है आपके पास, और आप मोहम्मद शमी या फिर बाकी गेंदबाजों के लिए भी एक चैलेंज है?
240 का क्या नाम है स्कोर दिया है, क्या नाम है इंडिया ने, और क्या नाम है मोहम्मद शामी ने उसमें 6 रन बनाए हैं, और उम्मीद ये देती इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह ने चाहा तो मोहम्मद शामी 6 ही विकेट लेंगे, हमें ये टारगेट लगता है।
अभी भी उम्मीद है, अभी ऐसा नहीं है, आप लोगों को लग रहा है कि अभी भी ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं है, आपके पास चांस है, बॉलिंग अच्छी होगी, अच्छी फील्डिंग होगी, हम जीत सकते हैं?
हाँ जीत सकते हैं, हमें उम्मीद है कि 150 रन पकड़े ना पकड़े, हमें जैसे उम्मीद है शामी भाई से कि वो 5 विकेट ले में, और बुमराह से भी उम्मीद है, अच्छी फॉर्म में चल रहे हैं, वो भी विकेट ले में, और टीम जीते हमारी, हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि इंडिया जीतेगी।
So as you can see, Nikhil, fans are very, optimistic, and they are very confident that still we can do well, and our bowlers will definitely, rock and roll in the field, and they will be, they'll manage to win this game for India. Nikhil.
Okay, Nitin, thank you so much for that update from Amroha. With me in studio still, Robin Uthappa. Robin, I love the confidence of the fans there. One of them saying that, listen, today India's got 240. Shami contributed with 6 runs. Now he's going to contribute with 6 wickets. That's the way to go. I won't put it past him.
I don't quite know how to respond to that. But here's hoping he gets 8. Why 6?
No, but I'm saying it's not actually putting it past him, because, this is a man, I don't think he's taken less than 4 wickets. Every game it's a 5 or 4 wickets.
Well,
so
I'd say knock on wood. Because, he's bowled exceptionally well. Yeah, but
you're not a fan of give him the new ball?
Not necessarily, because the new ball, the bowlers have bowled exceptionally well thus far. So, same. Why fix something that's not broken? Give Siraj and Bumrah the go, and then 5 overs down, wickets don't fall. Then you bring Shami on. Shami is your key wicket taker, so use those 10 overs very, very wisely, is what I would say.
Okay, now let's take a look at India's batting as well. What did you make of that decision to send Ravindra Jadeja ahead of Suryakumar Yadav at the time?
I didn't understand it. I'm yet to understand why, what could have justified the reason behind that decision. I reckon because the off spinners were bowling, so bringing in Jadeja was not going to. Then they didn't have a left arm spinner, they only had Zampa left, but they still were happy with the way the offies were bowling, because even Rahul was not able to take on the offies, right? And nor was Virat Kohli. And at that situation, you aren't able to make those choices simply because what if another wicket falls at that point in time? You're putting the team in a much bigger hole. So you don't want to do that. And then for me, I would have sent maybe, I think the thinking at that point perhaps was that Surya is better when there's lesser overs to go. That probably was the thinking behind that decision. I'd be very keen to look at what the players are looking at this point in time, what they're looking at in their face, and what their mindset's like, because you can tell a lot about how the group is feeling.
So what's it telling you in the brief moment that you've seen those faces?
Well, it looks hopeful. It doesn't look gung-ho.
Okay. So they do know that it's not really a total that's going to intimidate the opposition. They could control the game from here. But if you were to pick a few wickets up front, as Robin pointed out, those first 10 overs, then you'll set the cat amongst the pigeons. So let's see if the Indian team can do that. They're in a huddle at the moment, discussing their strategy. Once again, as expected, you'll see Jasprit Bumrah with the ball in his hand. Giving him company will be Siraj. And then later, you'll have the likes of Mohammad Shami, Ravindra Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav to follow. All of them wicket takers. So yes, India does have a fighting chance of defending a total like that. But as I mentioned right at the start and what we were discussing, the due factor. Not this early, maybe in an hour or so, we'll get the answer. For the moment, that's all that we have in this edition of our Battle of Champions.